pulling my phone out. I'm recording.
Drop it! Oh my God!
You can't do this! I know my rights. The Constitution says I have the right to record.
That's enough. Back up!
Picture this. You're just trying to grab cupcakes for your kid's birthday, and 4 ICE agents box you in with guns drawn because of the color of your skin. This actually happened to a black female sergeant with the Minneapolis PD. I first saw the body cam clip on Twitter, then dug into the court docs and news reports. This one's real, and it's messed up. It was late afternoon in the crowded Target parking lot in Brooklyn Park, Minneapolis. The sun was dipping low, casting long shadows over the rows of cars packed with folks rushing through after-work errands. Sergeant Alicia Brooks had just wrapped up her shift at the precinct. 15 years on the force as a cop, she'd seen it all. Gang busts, domestic calls, the kind of stuff that kept her alert even off duty. But today, she was just a mom. Her 8-year-old daughter, Mia, was turning 9 tomorrow. And Alicia had promised those pink frosted cupcakes from the bakery section. She was in plain clothes, faded jeans, a gray hoodie to ward off the Minnesota chill, sneakers that had seen better days. Her badge and ID were tucked in her purse on the passenger seat of her beat-up Honda Civic, right next to Mia's forgotten lunchbox from school pickup earlier. Alicia popped the trunk and started loading her bags. Cupcakes, balloons, a pack of birthday candles, some chips for the party. She was humming an old tune under her breath, thinking about Mia's excited face when she got home. The sitter was watching her right now, but the clock was ticking. The sitter had to leave by 6 for her own job. Alicia glanced at her watch. 5:15. Plenty of time, she thought. That's when she heard the screech of tires. A white, unmarked SUV pulled up sharp in front of her car, blocking her in. Before she could even process it, another one swung in behind, trapping her Civic like it was in a vice. Doors flew open, and 4 ICE agents piled out, vests marked clear as day, with those patches that screamed authority. Lead guy was Agent Ramirez, a stocky dude with a buzz cut and eyes that scanned everything like a hawk. His partners, Agents Thompson, Lee, and Garcia, fanned out, hands hovering near their holsters, bodies tense like they were expecting trouble. Alicia's cop instincts kicked in right away. She straightened up, hands visible. No sudden moves. She'd trained rookies on this stuff. Stay calm, assess, de-escalate. "Afternoon," Ramirez barked, his voice flat and official, like he'd said it 1,000 times. "Immigration and Customs Enforcement were conducting checks in this area. Need to see your ID and proof you're legal to be here. Right now." Alicia's heart skipped, but she kept her cool. She knew the drill from the other side, how these stops could go sideways fast. "I'm a sergeant with the Minneapolis cops," she said, steady, meeting his eyes. "Sergeant Alicia Brooks, badge number 5192. My ID and badge are in my purse on the front seat. I can grab them slow, no problem." Ramirez didn't blink. Everyone's got a story. Hands where we can see them. No reaching into the car. His tone had that edge, the kind that said he wasn't buying it. Thompson moved to her left, Lee to her right, Garcia hanging back by the SUV, watching the lot. The parking area was buzzing, people pushing carts, kids whining, car doors slamming, but a few heads turned their way. Alicia felt that familiar knot in her gut, the one that came from years of being pulled over for routine checks before she joined the force. But now, she was the cop. "Look, I've got nothing to hide," she said, keeping her voice even. "I've been on the job 15 years. Call the 3rd precinct. Ask for Captain Reyes. He'll vouch for me. And my daughter's waiting at home with a sitter. I need to get back soon." Ignore the sob stories. Ramirez muttered to his team, loud enough for her to hear. "We're running an operation here. This area's got reports of illegal workers hanging around big stores like this. Show us papers proving citizenship, passport, birth certificate, something real." Alicia's anger flickered, but she pushed it down. Illegal workers? She was shopping for birthday stuff. Her family had been in Minnesota for generations. Grandma came up from Chicago during the Great Migration. Dad worked the factories. She was as American as the flag on their badges. "I was born right here in Minneapolis," she said, firmer now. "St. Mary's Hospital, 1985. I'm a natural-born citizen. Let me show you my driver's license at least. It's in my purse." "No sudden moves," Thompson snapped, stepping closer. His hand twitched toward his gun. The lot was getting more attention now. A mom with a stroller paused, pulling out her phone. A couple of guys, loading groceries, slowed down, whispering. Alicia could feel eyes on them, the air thickening like before a storm. She tried again. "My kid's 8, man. Sitter's got to leave soon. Mia's got asthma. Her inhaler's in one of these bags. Just let me call the precinct myself." Ramirez shook his head. "Not happening. Hands up. Turn around. We're detaining you for verification." Detaining? The word hit like a punch. Alicia's mind raced. Protocol, rights, what she'd tell suspects in her own stops. On what grounds? What's your reasonable suspicion? "I'm loading groceries in a parking lot." "That's it?" "Fit the profile," Lee chimed in, her voice cold. "Area intel says, look out for folks like you." "Folks like me?" Alicia echoed, her voice rising just a bit. "Black folks shopping? That's your intel? That's racial bias, and you know it." The crowd was growing, phones out, murmurs turning to voices. "Hey, what's going on?" someone called. A young guy in a Target vest stepped closer, hesitant. Alicia saw her chance. She slowly reached for her phone in her pocket, real slow, announcing it. "I'm pulling my phone to record this. Everything's on camera now." "Drop it!" Garcia yelled, lunging forward. In a flash, he drew his gun, pointing it low but clear. The barrel glinted under the parking lights. Gasps rippled through the bystanders. The mom with the stroller backed up fast, shielding her kid. Alicia froze, phone halfway out, heart pounding like a drum. "Put it down now," Ramirez ordered, his own hand on his holster. "No recording. You're resisting." "I'm not resisting," Alicia said, voice steady, but inside she was screaming. Fear shot through her. Mia at home, alone if the sitter bailed. What if this escalated? She'd seen body cam videos of stops gone wrong. "I'm documenting a violation of my rights. Fourth Amendment. No unreasonable seizure without cause." Thompson grabbed her arm, twisting it back. Pain shot up her shoulder. "Hands behind your back." The struggle was quick but ugly. Alicia didn't fight. She went limp, dead weight like they'd taught in training, but she kept talking loud for the phone's filming. "Sergeant Alicia Brooks, Minneapolis cops, badge 5192, call 3rd Precinct. This is unlawful detention based on race." Lee snatched the phone from her hand, smashing it to the ground. Crack! The screen shattered. Garcia holstered his gun but kept close, breathing heavy. They forced her against the Civic's hood, cold metal pressing into her cheek. Cuffs clicked tight, biting into her wrists. Blood rushed in her ears, mixing with the crowd's shouts. "Let her go! That's messed up," someone yelled for the manager. Ramirez hauled her toward the SUV, ignoring the chaos. Alicia craned her neck, seeing her bag scattered, cupcakes smashed on the asphalt. Her purse still in the car, door ajar. "My car's unlocked. Stuff's gonna get stolen. My kids' things." "We'll handle it," Ramirez grunted, shoving her into the back seat. The door slammed shut, the cage divider locking her in. She twisted, cuffs digging in, watching through the tinted window as bystanders filmed the SUVs pulling away. Her mind spun. Mia, the sitter, the birthday ruined. What the hell just happened? As the engine revved, she leaned back, breathing hard. Fury building like a fire she couldn't put out. The SUV lurched forward, tires crunching over loose gravel in the target lot, and Alicia jolted against the hard plastic seat. The cuffs pinched deeper into her skin, a constant reminder of the mess she'd landed in. Ramirez slid into the driver's seat, Thompson's shotgun, while Lee and Garcia hopped in another vehicle trailing behind. The engine's low hum filled the confined space, but it couldn't drown out the storm raging in her head. She stared at the cage mesh separating her from them, her breaths coming in sharp bursts, that raw edge of outrage simmering just below the surface. "Listen," Alicia said, forcing her words out calm and measured, like she was talking down a suspect in a heated standoff. "You gotta call my precinct. 3rd Precinct, Captain Reyes. Tell him Sergeant Alicia Brooks is being held by ICE agents. He'll sort this out in 2 minutes." Ramirez glanced at her in the rearview mirror, his expression blank as a wall. "We'll verify through channels. Sit tight." He didn't even pretend to reach for his radio. Thompson fiddled with his phone, scrolling like this was just another boring shift. The drive dragged on, weaving through rush-hour traffic on the highway toward the ICE processing center downtown. Alicia's mind wouldn't quit. Mia's face kept flashing up, that gap-toothed grin expecting cupcakes and balloons. The sitter, a college kid named Sarah, had texted earlier, "All good here. Mia's drawing you a card." But Sarah's shift ended at 6 sharp. She had evening classes. What if she bounced and left Mia alone? The thought twisted like a knife. And the inhaler, damn, it was in the grocery bag, the one now smashed on the pavement back at Target. Mia's asthma attacks came fast. One bad trigger, and she'd be wheezing without it. "You hear me?" Alicia pressed, leaning forward as much as the cuffs allowed. "My daughter's home with a sitter who's gotta leave soon. She's got medical needs. Asthma. Her meds are in my car, which you left wide open. This isn't just some routine check. You're screwing with a kid's safety." Thompson snorted without looking back. "Procedure's procedure. Should have had your papers on you." Papers. The word burned. Alicia bit her tongue, recalling all the times she'd pulled over drivers for legit reasons. Tail light out, swerving lanes, not because they fit a profile, but here she was, a decorated sergeant, treated like she snuck across a border. The city lights blurred past the window, storefronts and billboards mocking her with their normalcy. People out there grabbing dinner, heading home, while she bounced in the back of a fed vehicle, wrists raw and throbbing. They pulled into the ICE facility after what felt like forever, maybe 20 minutes, but each one stretched. It was a squat building on the edge of downtown, chain link fences topped with razor wire, floodlights casting harsh shadows. Ramirez parked in a secured bay, then yanked open the door. "Out. Slow." Alicia complied, legs stiff from the awkward position. They marched her through a side entrance past buzzing fluorescent lights and the faint smell of stale coffee and sweat. Intake area was humming, agents typing at desks, a few detainees in orange jumpsuits shuffling by under guard. Garcia logged her in at a counter, fingerprinting her like a common perp, while Lee patted her down again, rougher than needed. "No phone call?" Alicia asked, voice level but insistent. "I know my rights." "One call. After a verification," Ramirez said, clipping her cuffs to a metal ring on a bench in a holding room. The space was barren, gray walls, a single camera in the corner, blinking red, no windows. "Sit." The door clicked shut, leaving her alone with her thoughts. She tested the cuffs. Tight, no give. Her shoulder ached from the earlier twist. a dull throb that matched the headache building behind her eyes. Minutes ticked by, turning into hours. She could hear muffled voices outside, laughter even, like this was just office banter. Alicia closed her eyes, picturing Mia's routine. Homework done, maybe watching cartoons, wondering where Mom was. Sarah would have called by now, right? Or texted, but her phone was shattered back at the lot. She banged her foot against the bench after an hour, yelling through the door. "Hey, supervisor! I need to speak to someone now." Footsteps approached, but the door stayed shut. "Quiet in there!" a voice barked. More waiting. Alicia's stomach growled. She hadn't eaten since lunch at the precinct, a quick sandwich between reports. But hunger was nothing compared to the worry gnawing at her. What if Mia had an attack? The neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins next door, was elderly. She might not hear a knock. Alicia's ex was out of the picture. No family nearby. It was all on her. Around the 3-hour mark, she started reciting protocol to herself, a mental anchor. Reasonable suspicion requires specific facts, not just skin color. She drilled that into new recruits. But these guys, they operated in their own bubble, feds above local rules. Another hour crawled by. Her wrists swelled, the metal cutting in. She shifted, trying to ease it, but no luck. Finally, the door swung open. A new face. Supervisor Harlan, badge gleaming under the lights. Older guy with a mustache and a clipboard. He scanned her, then the intake form. His brow furrowed. "Brooks? Wait, you're claiming MPD?" "Not claiming," Alicia shot back, the exhaustion sharpening her tone. "I am MPD. Sergeant. 15 years. Call Captain Reyes at 3rd Precinct. Now." Harlan hesitated, then nodded to an agent outside. "Run it." He stepped out, leaving the door cracked. Alicia strained to hear. The phone dialing, a voice on the line. "Yeah, confirming a Sergeant Alicia Brooks. Detained for status check." "What? She's one of yours?" The captain's voice boomed through the speaker, even from the hall, furious, laced with that gravelly edge from years of chain smoking. "What the hell are you idiots doing? Brooks is my best sergeant. Born and raised here. Citizen through and through. You detained her without cause? Get her out now, or I'll have the chief raining down on DHS." Harlan's face paled as he re-entered. "Uncuff her. Verification confirmed." The cuffs came off, leaving deep red grooves. Alicia rubbed her wrist, standing tall despite the ache. "Took you long enough. 5.5 hours for a phone call?" "Standard procedure," Harlan muttered, avoiding her eyes. "We'll transport you back." The ride back was silent, tension thick as fog. Ramirez drove, no apologies, just stone-faced. They rolled into the Target lot around 10:45 p.m. Lot, mostly empty now, sodium lights, buzzing overhead. Her Civic sat where she'd left it, door still ajar. But the bags? Gone. Scattered wrappers and an empty chip bag were all that remained, looted by opportunists or tossed by wind. Purse was there, thankfully, but rifled through, wallet intact, but Mia's drawings crumpled. Alicia grabbed her stuff, slamming the trunk. "Thanks for nothing," she said to Ramirez, who just nodded and peeled out. She drove home on autopilot, knuckles white on the wheel. The apartment building loomed, lights on in her unit. Key in the door, and there was Mia, curled on the couch with Mrs. Jenkins, eyes red from crying. The old neighbor stood, relieved. "Sarah had to go. Called me when you didn't answer. Kid's been worried sick." Mia launched herself at Alicia, small arms tight. "Mommy, where were you? I thought something bad happened." Alicia hugged back, throat tight. "Just work stuff, baby. Got held up. Let's get you to bed." She tucked Mia in, reading a quick story about brave princesses, keeping her voice steady. But once the door closed, in the dim kitchen light, The dam broke. Alicia sank to the floor, sobs shaking her silently. Relief mixed with rage, the what-ifs crashing over her. How close it had come to worse. Morning light filtered through the blinds as Alicia brewed coffee, Mia still asleep. She scrolled her replacement phone, notifications exploding. Bystander videos from the lot had gone viral overnight, racking up 2 million views. Hashtags like hashtag ICE Overreach and hashtag Black Cop Detained trending. Comments poured in. This is America? Sue them! Her inbox flooded with messages from colleagues, the union rep, even reporters. She grabbed a stack of forms, body cam requests, incident reports, and headed out the door toward the precinct, resolve hardening like steel. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. The precinct buzzed with the usual morning chaos, phones ringing off the hook, officers swapping war stories over lukewarm coffee, the clatter of keyboards punching out reports. Alicia pushed through the double doors, the stack of forms clutched in her hand like a shield, her steps purposeful despite the lingering soreness in her shoulders. Captain Reyes spotted her from across the bullpen and waved her into his office, his face already etched with concern. He'd seen the viral clips too, fielded calls from brass all night. Brooks, sit. What the actual hell went down? She laid it out, voice steady but laced with the edge she'd honed from debriefs after bad shifts. The parking lot ambush, the gun draw, the smashed phone, the endless hold in that sterile room, while Mia waited scared at home. Reyes listened, nodding, his jaw clenching tighter with each detail. Feds crossed every line, he growled when she finished. Racial crap, excessive force, the works. Unions already looping in. You need a lawyer who eats DHS for breakfast. By noon, Alicia was on the phone with Elena Vasquez, a civil rights shark who'd taken down federal agencies in half a dozen high-profile cases. Vasquez didn't mince words. This screams lawsuit, unlawful detention, false imprisonment, straight-up Fourth Amendment shredding, add racial profiling, the gun threat as excessive force, emotional trauma, and messing with your role as a parent. We've got a slam dunk. File fast, before they bury the evidence. They moved quick. Vasquez pulled strings for expedited FOIA requests on body cams and dash footage. Alicia's car had a hidden dash cam. She'd flipped it on discreetly when the SUVs boxed her in, a habit from years of solo patrols. It captured everything. The agent's approach, the demands, the weapon pull, her pleas about Mia. Bystander videos flooded in too, submitted anonymously through social media tips. One from the mom with the stroller showed the cuffing from a side angle. Clear audio of Alicia invoking her rights. Another from the target employee caught Garcia smashing the phone, the crack echoing like a gunshot. Precinct logs sealed it. Call records showed Reyes could have verified her in under 5 minutes. But ICE dragged their feet 4 hours. Vasquez dug deeper, uncovering dirt on Ramirez. 3 prior complaints of similar stops on Black and Latino folks in public spots, all dismissed internally as procedural. One involved a teacher at a grocery store, another a delivery driver. Patterns screaming bias, ignored by supervisors. The suit dropped 2 weeks later. Sergeant Alicia Brooks versus United States, Ramirez and crew. It hit federal court like a bomb, alleging the whole laundry list. Media picked it up fast, headlines blaring, Black cop mom held at gunpoint by ICE for shopping. Protests sparked outside the DHS office, signs waving no papers for cupcakes. Alicia's phone rang nonstop, support from civil rights groups, offers from podcasts, even a GoFundMe for Mia's college that she politely declined. Government lawyers circled back quick with a settlement offer. $150,000, no admission of fault. Vasquez laughed it off in a conference call. That's chump change for handcuffing a sergeant and terrorizing her kid. Try again. They bumped to $450,000, still whispering to avoid trial costs. Alicia shook her head when Vasquez relayed it. No deal. They need to face this in open court. For Mia, for every other parent who's been profiled. Trial kicked off 14 months later. Federal courthouse in downtown Minneapolis packed to the gills. Snow dusted the streets outside, but inside the heat was on. MPD officers filled the gallery in uniform, a sea of blue showing solidarity. Guys from her shift, even some from rival precincts who'd heard the story. Community activists squeezed in too, notebooks ready. Media row hummed with laptops, live tweeting every beat. Vasquez opened strong, painting the issue. A dedicated cop, single mom, targeted for her skin in broad daylight. The jury, diverse mix, a few nodding already, watched synced footage on the big screen. Dash cam from Alicia's car rolled first, showing the SUVs trap her, voices demanding papers. Bystander clips layered in, the gun draw, Ramirez's hand steady on the trigger, Thompson's twist of her arm. Gasps rippled through the room. One juror covered her mouth. Defense tried to spin it. Routine operation in a high-risk area for undocumented labor. But Vasquez tore into Ramirez on cross. He took the stand cocky, vest still crisp like it was inspection day. "Why approach Sergeant Brooks?" she asked, pacing slow. "She fit the profile we were briefed on," he replied, shifting in his seat. Vasquez leaned in. "The profile. Describe it." "Individuals in the vicinity, potentially tied to reports of illegal activity." "Potentially? Be specific, Agent. What about her screamed illegal? The jeans, the hoodie, or was it her being black in a Minnesota parking lot?" Objection flew from defense, but the judge overruled. Ramirez stammered, face reddening. "It wasn't about race. We had intel on the area. Intel that targeted shoppers, moms with birthday bags?" Vasquez pressed, flipping through exhibits. "Your own reports show no specific threats at that target. And those prior complaints, 3 stops just like this, all dismissed. Sounds like a pattern to me." Ramirez mumbled denials, but the jury's eyes narrowed. Whispers buzzed during recess, folks in the hall debating if he'd crack further. Alicia testified next. 3 grueling days on the stand. She walked them through it step by step, the fear spiking when the gun came out, visions of Mia orphaned if things went south. "Flashbacks hit hard after," she said, voice cracking just once. "Waking up sweating, hearing that door slam in my dreams. Therapy twice a week now. PTSD, Doc says. And trust? I enforce the law daily. Put my life on the line for this city. But when I needed protection, the system looked at my skin and decided I was the threat. Defense poked holes. Why not comply faster? You reached for your phone. Escalation. Alicia held firm. Comply with what? Illegal demands? I know the Constitution better than most. And that phone was my lifeline to record the truth. The emotional gut punch came with expert witnesses. A psychologist detailing the trauma's ripple. Hypervigilance on patrols. Strained talks with Mia about bad days at work. A family law specialist hammered the parental interference. Hours lost that could have been bedtime stories. The sitter scramble scarring a kid already dealing with asthma stress. Closing arguments wrapped tense. Vasquez, this wasn't procedure. It was prejudice with a badge. Defense. Agents acted in good faith. Jury filed out, 6 days of deliberation ahead. Rumors swirled. Split votes, heated debates. Alicia paced her apartment, Mia's drawings taped to the fridge, a reminder of the stakes. One night, a leaked whisper from a juror's friend hit the news. They couldn't get past the gun on a mom in a parking lot. Made half the room furious. The wait dragged, every phone buzz building hope and dread. Alicia sat in the courthouse cafeteria on day 5, stirring cold coffee when her lawyer texted, "Verdict tomorrow. Stay strong." The courtroom felt smaller the morning the verdict came down, air thick with the kind of quiet that presses on your chest. Alicia sat straight in the front row beside Vasquez, hands folded in her lap to hide the slight tremble. Mia was at school. Better there than here, watching grown-ups decide whether what happened to her mom mattered. The jury filed in, faces unreadable, a few avoiding eye contact with the gallery. The foreman, a middle-aged guy in a navy blazer, stood when the judge asked for the decision. "We, the jury, find the defendants liable on all counts: unlawful detention, false imprisonment, violation of Fourth Amendment rights, racial profiling, excessive force, deprivation of civil rights under color of law, and intentional infliction of emotional distress." A ripple moved through the room. Sharp intakes of breath, a muffled sob from the back, officers shifting like they'd been holding tension for days. Alicia exhaled slow, the knot in her gut loosening for the first time in over a year. No cheers, just that heavy, satisfied silence when something broken finally gets acknowledged. They moved straight into damages. Another 12 days of testimony, each one chipping away at the defense's last defenses. Vasquez brought in experts again. An economist tallying lost wages from Alicia's forced leave and therapy costs. A child psychologist who'd met with Mia explaining how the long wait that night had left the girl with new separation anxiety, nightmares about mom disappearing, clinging tighter at drop-off. Then came the bombshell exhibit Vasquez had saved for last. She projected a timeline on the screen. Ramirez's name highlighted in red at 3 prior incidents. A 2023 stop on a black nurse, leaving a night shift at a Walmart. Same demands, same refusal to verify, settled quietly for $40,000. A 2024 encounter with a Latino delivery driver at a Home Depot loading dock. Gun drawn when he reached for his company ID. Complaint dismissed after internal review. And a third hushed up entirely, involving a college student at a bus stop near the university. Each time, supervisor signed off. No policy violation, no retraining required. Vasquez turned to the jury. This wasn't one rogue moment in a parking lot. This was a pattern ICE knew about and chose to ignore. They let it continue until it landed on a sergeant with 15 years of service and an 8-year-old waiting at home. Punitive damages aren't about revenge. They're about making sure the next family doesn't pay the price. Defense counsel tried damage control, arguing isolated errors, good faith mistakes, budget constraints on training. But the jury had already seen the footage, heard Alicia's voice crack on the stand, watched Ramirez squirm. Deliberation took only 4 hours this time. When they returned, the foreman read the numbers, clear and even. Compensatory damages, $7.8 million for medical bills, therapy, lost income, the documented harm to Alicia's career and family life. Punitive damages, $3.4 million, aimed squarely at deterring the pattern. Total award, $11.2 million. The gavel fell. Alicia stayed seated a beat longer than everyone else, letting the figure sink in. Not just money, accountability carved into the record, public and permanent. Aftermath rolled out in waves. Ramirez, Thompson, Lee, and Garcia were reassigned to desk duty within the week. Internal Affairs opened a formal probe into the ignored complaints. Harlan, the supervisor who delayed the precinct call, took a demotion and a transfer to records. DHS released a 2-paragraph statement about reviewing field protocols and enhanced training modules, the kind of language that promises change without admitting fault. Minneapolis PD quietly updated its liaison guidelines with federal agencies, adding mandatory cross-verification steps for any officer detained off-duty. Alicia didn't rush back to full duty. She took the rest of the school year off, using part of the settlement to cover Mia's college fund early and to launch a small nonprofit she called Document the Stop. The group trained community members, especially parents and elders, on how to record encounters safely, what rights to assert, and how to get pro bono legal help fast. She spoke at churches, community centers, even a couple police academies, always starting the same way. I wore the badge for 15 years. That day, it wasn't enough. One evening, months later, she sat on the couch with Mia, watching cartoons, the girl's head resting on her shoulder. The birthday cupcakes from that ruined afternoon had long been replaced. Dozens since then, each one a small victory. Mia looked up. "Mom, are the bad guys gone?" Alicia thought about the verdict, the reassignments, the new training packets circulating through ICE offices. "Not all of them," she said honestly, "but a lot of people are paying closer attention now, and we keep telling the story so it doesn't happen again." Outside, snow fell soft against the window, blanketing the city in quiet. Alicia pulled Mia closer, the weight of the past year still there, but lighter, shared. She'd fought the system that was supposed to protect her and won, not just for herself, but for the next black mom loading groceries, the next kid waiting at home. That was worth every courtroom hour. If stories like this hit you hard, drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? Ever had a run-in that felt wrong from the jump? Hit subscribe so more of these get told. Because when a cop mom buying cupcakes ends up in cuffs and it takes $11.2 million to say we messed up, we all need to keep asking why.